Let's play the Netanyahu video. Netanyahu talking about Jews defending something here with Dinesh D'Souza.
In a recent exchange between Tucker Carlson and Senator Ted Cruz, Tucker Carlson said, "Are you saying that the Jews in Israel under Netanyahu are the descendants of the ancient Israelites who are described in the Bible?"
Of course, there's no question about it. The Jews spread from this land to various parts of Europe, to the Middle East and elsewhere. But we never forgot this land. We said, next year in Jerusalem, next year in Jerusalem. My great-grandfather came here in the 19th century. Most of the Palestinians who are alive today came after him. So that's what our history has been. On the one hand, regaining our ancient ancestral homeland, on the other, developing a state that becomes a juggernaut of technology and development. We're Silicon Valley in the Middle East, a democratic society in the face of enormous attacks of countries that want to annihilate us every day. Who is Tucker Carlson defending here? These are people who chant death to America. They're after you. They want to destroy Western civilization. They want to destroy everything that America stands for. They say Israel is a small Satan. The big Satan is America. The only place where Christians are safe in the Middle East is in Israel. Not tolerated, welcomed. They participate in our society. We take care of the holy places, which are destroyed everywhere else. Churches blown up throughout the Middle East. So if Tucker Carlson is asking me that, then he has no idea, not of Jewish history, but of history. Who are these so-called defenders of MAGA defending? They're defending the worst enemies on the planet against America. They're not MAGA. The people who speak of MAGA, they love America, and they love America's values, and they don't identify with the worst enemies that America is facing today in the world. President Donald J. Trump, the greatest friend that Israel has ever had, he understands that we're fighting a common enemy. Iran wants to destroy you. We stand in their way. I'm very proud of the fact that Israel is the front line of this battle of civilization against the barbarism that threatens all free societies.
The Dragon's Prophecy.
Isn't it?
Theaters are
Dude, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just so wild, the levels of lies and propaganda.
Can I just comment? It looks
Sure.
like, I think he gets cold sores and he's got a Band-Aid in the middle. But
Is that true?
It looks like it. I mean, you can pull back up. You can pull back it up.
Yeah,
'cause
but
I've
that I did not
before,
notice.
I've noticed it looks like he's got a little Band-Aid in the middle, but it's almost like his Hitler stash grows in too thick and he has to keep waxing it. And so, like, it's not even with the rest of his, like,
Oh, yeah.
and his nose is so big, he almost gets like a Hitler stash shadow.
Yeah,
right
he
above
does
his
get a
lip.
little bit of that. That's true.
Yeah.
That's an issue. Not the best PR. Anything
Anyways,
else, or that's just what you wanted?
No. I mean, there's a lot to take on there, but I couldn't not address the little Band-Aid Hitler stash.
Well, I'll maybe do the Jewish part last, but just the other thing. I mean, it's just so, again, like the dumb binary of like, who are these people standing with? You're standing with Hamas, or you're standing with the Ayatollah or something. And it's like, obviously, like there's a third option there, which is that like, I'm not standing with any of you. Like, it doesn't follow that if I don't just want to give billions of dollars to some country, therefore I'm standing with the enemies of that country. The idea that he goes, they say we're the little Satan and you're the big Satan. We're what's standing in between them and you. So you cast yourself as like our protector. You're the one who will stand in between our enemy and us and defend us, except you have to do it with our money and weapons. It's like, that's adds a slightly different element to that. But I guess just, the first part of that whole thing, like, look, man, I mean, and again, I will, as I always think I do, like confess when I don't really know enough about a subject, but I don't know enough to like know this for sure. But I am pretty goddamn convinced that everything Netanyahu's saying there is bullshit. And the fact that it's like, oh, the Jews are genetically the same Jews from the Bible. Like, I don't think anyone can actually demonstrate that. And we do have DNA tests, like, which, by the way, are banned in Israel. You're not allowed to get DNA tests in Israel, which is a kind of strange thing. Because it kind of seems like if that's your whole claim, then like, wouldn't you be the ones who want to demonstrate this. The truth is that like Sephardic Jews, I know this much, that Sephardic Jews and Arabs have like incredibly similar DNA, and that the European Ashkenazi Jews like me and Rob have distinct differences from them. And so I just don't think, again, I do not know enough to know this for sure, but I just don't think it's at all scientifically demonstrated that like, no, these people are the ones who originally come from that land. But again, that wouldn't even matter. It doesn't even make, nobody ever thinks of a property rights dispute based off whose blood goes back further in this land. It just would never be the case that like, if you were arguing over, you know, like I was cutting down a tree on my neighbor's property or something like that, we would go to the property deeds and the blueprints and the property lines and the where. No one would go like, he's got some Native American blood in him, and so his people go back hundreds of years before my people were here. It wouldn't matter if you just stepped foot on the country the first day. It's like, who owns the property? That's what the question would be. And there is this incredibly bizarre thing, and I'll let you can have the last comment on this, Rob, but I'll notice that like it's just something I've noticed over the last couple years as I've been a figure in these, you know, debates, where there is this weird, you know, because like people like Douglas Murray was like, oh, Dave, you know, claims some Jewish heritage, and then there'll be arguments over whether you're really Jewish or not. And then somebody else, you know, like I mean, I get the comments like this all the time, but they'll say things like, oh, Dave's not even a practicing Jew, so he's not a Jew by any real means. What does that even mean? And you're like, oh, okay, so that's the standard now. Now the standard is like, if you're not, it's not the genetic argument anymore. Now it's the religious argument. But if it's the religious argument, then the majority of Israel identifies as not religious. So then are those people Jews or not Jews or what? And then also, by the way, I mean, Rob, if you convert to Judaism, you're eligible for birthright, I believe, right? So wait, so which one is it? Like, like, what exactly is the claim of Netanyahu and the state of Israel here? It's like, oh, we genetically go all the way back, therefore this is our land. It's like, okay, but that's like, so now it's like a scientific genetic claim, but like, why is it yours? Because you were there a long time ago. It's like, oh, because God promised it to you. Okay, so now it's a religious claim. So now it's like somebody, so now you have to say, Rob, that a Jewish kid from Brooklyn has more of a claim to Palestine than an Arab who's born in Palestine, who goes back 600 years in this area. The Jewish kid from Brooklyn, wait, hold on. But now the Christian kid from Brooklyn who converts to Judaism also has more of a claim than, like, he has a right of return, but the Palestinian in a refugee camp in Gaza or the West Bank doesn't have a right of return. Like, it's all just gets like really weird and bizarre. It's this crazy, incoherent justification for how to view the country and Judaism and the whole thing. I don't know. Last word to you on this.
Well, I don't agree with any of what Netanyahu said. I think what caught my eye more was the burning of churches, which Israel's done a bit of in other areas.
Yeah.
And then also this idea of they, you know, it just proved to me that that these nations would hate us if we didn't support Israel, or that you're actually on the front lines of a fight that would, for any reason, include us. I just validate that claim. In terms of Jews' ancestral homeland, you know, I agree with you that it doesn't create a claim in the modern world that you can just go back and reconquer territories because the Bible allocated them to you. With that said, in terms of the, you know, there is a fair point to be made that Sephardi Jews are, you know, had somewhat different DNA. They're darker. You also have Ethiopian Jews who are straight up black.
Yep.
And so, you know, but you know, I could in 15 minutes track the lineage of the, you know, the rabbinic Jews to Second Temple quickly, like, and earlier than that. And so now you're already going back to like the times of like basically King Solomon. Yeah. And so you're not really looking at that much of a gap from, you know, because you're already talking about the later books.
But what gets interesting there, and I know that there is some actual, I think it was Sheldon Richman had some quotes from David Ben-Gurion in his book, Coming to Palestine, about this. But where like the other interesting thing there is that like it does seem to be that a lot of those Muslims in that part of the region were forcefully converted to Islam. And so essentially like there's a whole lot of Sephardic
so you have
Jews in there with
genetic-
them.
Yeah,
Right,
I got
like
you. So in other
those
words,
might
you have-
actually be the people
you
who
have
God
genetic
promised the
Jews
land
who
to.
are
Yes.
Muslims.
Right.
Yeah, but that
right, so-
doesn't that doesn't kind of change. Listen, Jews is not really a genetic identity, because if someone converts, you're not even allowed to ask them. Like,
Right,
they're just
right.
considered Jewish. And so, in terms of like the lineage of Judaism, it probably is accurate that, you know, these are descendants of people that lived there at some period
But
of
isn't it-
time.
Isn't it interesting? And I do got to wrap up on this.
Yeah.
But isn't it interesting, like for all the talk about Jews, that half the thing is like, it's not even clear exactly what you're saying here, because you
Right.
get into a thing where you go, somebody else can convert and then you're a Jew. No questions asked. You're a Jew. But also, if you're not religious at all, you're a Jew. You're still a Jew. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you can enter it, but you can't leave it in a weird way. And then like, again, like where people go, if you by Jew, you just mean people who practice the religion. Then again, Israel is mostly not Jewish by that
Yeah, it's a
standard.
very Jewy definition.
Yeah, it sure is. This is getting awfully Jewy. And that's what you guys subscribe for the members only episode for.